Hello. I apologize that this recording is going out late. I have been editing and filming for parts 2, 3, and 4, as well as fielding messages and such regarding the part 1 that I put out. Part 2 is still coming. I am still editing it as well as going through and trying to make extra certain that I only speak first name and letters for family members. This is not part 2. I have filmed this 4 times, and I'm going to try to get it through what I want to say, and I hope I can do so in the most authentic and open way that I can. This is a message to my family. This is a message to my siblings. M and T, you're the first to be married. You were the first to leave home. T, you were close to me. I was close to you. I shared secrets with you I shared with nobody else. M, I gave you my Newsboys CDs when I was afraid I was going to get caught with them. And you were aware that's why I was giving them to you. Your eldest child and I had a bond that was incredible. And I never took that for granted. You were in my corner when I needed you the most, T. You were there when I gave birth to my baby. Your betrayal of me was only shadowed by some of the other siblings. In my first attempt to leave home at 18 years old, I left because I had been making phone calls to a neighbor dude that I had met and had a crush on, and I do go into depth in this in part 2, as well as go into a depth about the fact that I had an obsession with finding a guy, because we were raised that we were to grow up, get married, be housewives, and have babies and raise our children in the Lord. But I was so desperate to get away that I apologize to everybody. I was a weird child. I was weird, and I own that. And I own that I was weird to my siblings. I also own that I was the tattletale in the house, the biggest one. I own that. I own that. That was me. M&T, the day that I decided to try to leave home the first time, I spoke with you on the phone as I was heading into town, and you informed me that if I left home as I intended to, that I would be telling my nephew I didn't love him. And the thought devastated me so much that I asked for M to come get me, after I was told that I would be able to stay with you guys while we figured this out. He picked me up. We talked on the way back. As soon as I walked through your door, you informed me that Bert and Ginger were on their way to pick me up, and I indeed could not stay with you. M, you were my hero, which is so weird to say, but I was so happy that you married my oldest sister, and that she was such a sweet person, and I loved her so much. I was so happy she had found you. And now I hate you. You are a pastor of a church. You are aware of the abuse that went on in that home. You are aware that you lied to me, and you are aware that you betrayed me. You are also aware that when I asked you to take my son home when my ex-husband was in the hospital, and explicitly stated that I did not want you to allow Ginger to see, hold, or meet my son, and immediately upon getting him in your care, you had her come and pick him up and take him to her house. Where, mind you? When I called and stated that the hospital needed him to be returned to me so they could run testing on him for MRSA, Ginger stated, mind you, for this premature baby, that she was taking him, a premature baby who had been out of the NICU for all of a week, to a Bible study, and would not bring him to me the night I asked for him, but would bring him to me when you were ready. Well, not you, Ginger. I am so happy I sent people out there to get my son, and I never trusted you again. M&T, you know what you've done. And you always know the abuse you suffered. T, I slept on your floor multiple times. So, I love you guys. Well, I love you, T. I adore you, T. I cannot stand behind M, and I will not stand behind M. I won't. You got our parents kicked out of a church that they had served in for 30 years. Now, mind you, they were awful people. But just because they're awful people doesn't mean you go and get them kicked out of the church for the sins that they've committed against you. But as soon as I begin talking, it's not okay. M&T, I hope you have a wonderful life. T and K, I have no issues with you guys. I really don't. I had favorite brothers growing up, and T, you were my ultimate favorite, and you did help me out when I first moved out, and we did try to have some kind of connection, and I chose to break it off because you are a firefighter. And you know the things that were done to some of us kids in that home. How can you rescue battered and beaten women, children, and men, knowing full well that you never stood up for your siblings? I have no issues with you, but you are a hero to many, and I wanted you to be my hero. You will never be my hero. Okay. Oh, we fought like cats and dogs growing up, and I hated you. And the crazy thing was, is I hated you so much for the dumbest reason. You got braces and I didn't. I had more crooked teeth than you did, but I didn't get the braces, and I was so mad about it, and it hurt my feelings so bad. Was it ridiculous? Absolutely, it was ridiculous. 1000%. I was a ridiculous child in some instances. But out of everybody in the family over the years, you've been there for me when I needed you. You showed my child love that he didn't receive from others. Saying goodbye to you, again, is only overshadowed by one other person. I love you. You are beautiful. You have beautiful children. And you've made a beautiful life. And I am so sorry. And I need you to know that the day I left for the last time, you were sitting at the table reading a book because you were supposed to be watching me. And the last time that I went out the door, I turned back and I looked at you. And in that moment, I wanted so bad to tell you that it was going to be okay and that I wasn't doing this to hurt you, but I knew in my heart that they would question why you hadn't watched me close enough. And in that split moment, I thought about staying, but I knew if I didn't go, I would never be safe. Keep being you. I love you. Goodbye. K. Mail. your nurse. I have the same problems with you that I do with T. I'm so sorry. You guys know what went on in that house. Denying it is what you do, and I accept that. You were a nurse. And as such, how can you sit there and heal others when you have systematically watched the breakdown of the abuse to me and my family? And if none of you believe that ours child C was not abused by all of you, then I'm deeply, deeply sad for you. You knew what was happening, and you ignored it. I have no issues with you, and you are a hero to many, but you are not my hero. R and I have attempted a few times to have relationships. I've tried to forget what was done to me, and I try to give chance after chance to have a relationship. Unfortunately, I do not have one anymore with R, and I never will. Oh gosh, okay. Jay, we haven't spoken since I left. And I don't think we ever will. We were the Three Musketeers, S, you, and me. We did stuff together all the time, and I worked with you for my first job, a job I hated, a job I didn't want, a job I did piss poor at because I hated it. When I was 18, I asked my mom if I could work in a coffee shop for my first job. And she told me I wasn't pretty enough to work that kind of a job, so I asked if I could work at the front desk. And she said I was, again, not pretty enough to work a job like that. The next day, she came and told me that she had found the only job I was good enough for and said I would be working with Jay on the dairy farm. I owe an apology to the dairy farm. I was a terrible worker. I hated my job. I hated being there. The fact that Jay was there was the only thing that kept me going sane, and I know that you guys tried to help me in the small ways that you could, and I'm sorry I wasn't a better worker because I was so wrapped up in my own pain that I couldn't see. One day while we were working on the dairy farm, I was having a very bad attitude because I didn't want to be there, and Jay called me the B word, and I slapped him. I'm so sorry I slapped you. M&T later came to me and told me that after that incident I was no longer allowed to watch my nephews because they didn't know if I was going to be violent. I had no issues with Jay. I had no fight with Jay. One of my greatest memories was that I loved hiking, and I wanted to hike the Continental Divide, and I was obsessed with this idea that I was going to go and do that one day. And I wanted Jay to do it with me, and there was a tree out by our pig pen. And We carved our initials together into that tree, promising that one day we would do that. You've built a beautiful life, and I'm so proud of you. I love you. Goodbye. N and E, you guys were young. I don't have much of a recollection of relationship with you guys. I don't have much to say. I don't have anything against you guys. My first miscarriage was a girl, and I had named her with the middle name of N because there was one time when you were bent over your schoolwork trying to figure out something, and Ginger was yelling and screaming at you and pounding her fist on the book, and she took you downstairs and spanked you. And it was the only time that I had ever wanted to go down and take the stick away from her and do to her what she'd done to us. So I have no issues with either of you either. And, carry on. I grew up with you, S. We were unbreakable together. We shared secrets, shed tears. Sometimes we'd sneak down to the freezer and get ice and rub the ice across our welts. We dreamed of growing up together, starting families together, growing old together. We were inseparable. We fought like cats and dogs. You and I are more different than night and day. I was a tomboy. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to be hiking. I wanted to be hunting. I wanted to be free. You wanted to be beautiful, and you were. And you are. You wanted to be loved, and you were. And you are. I don't blame you for telling everyone that your story is different, because I know when we reached teenage years, we began to fall apart. You wanted to please Mom and Dad. You wanted to be a part of this family. You wanted our siblings to love you, and I don't fault you for that. And I don't fault you for choosing to stay in the home until you were 26 years old. I don't blame you for leaving, and I don't blame you for being hurt when our parents were mad at you for leaving. We tried to reconnect on several occasions, and I tried to hide my disagreements and a lot of what you had become to make it to where we could be friends again, because I love you so much. In 2018, you confessed to me that you had made some decisions, and I went immediately to our mother and told her, because I was tattletelling. That's what I do. But I could no longer let you get away with your lies. In 2018, hold up, the kitties are fighting. Crookshanks? In 2018, you were still letting the world think that you were pure, and you were not, and you had not been for 2 years. I told Mom that. We were meant to break cycles. You said that to me in your letter today. That we were meant to break the cycles and be better than our parents. Well, we had 2 sets of parents. Ones who did drugs, and ones who did abuse. And you have done both. I cannot stand beside you anymore. I cannot call you sister. I cannot call you friend. When you chose to ingest hard drugs, you chose to continue the cycle of abuse from our birth parents. When you chose to have Cody come to your home because he had almost hit Mom, this is not allegedly. You told me this story, and C told me this story. He was what, 15, 16? The day you told me that you had him be in the apartment by himself, and you sent friends to pound on the doors and threaten to break in and shoot him, you broke the very sacred duty that we had to stop the abuse that happened. Now, C says allegedly that you had men show up to punch him. You say it was only a slap. I say it was assault. We had choices, S. We went through the worst time of our life together. One of us chose to be a cycle breaker, and one of us chose to lie. And you know who that is. The day I learned you lost your foster kids to CPS, I could no longer support you as my sister. So go on, S. Do your worst. I broke the cycles. You didn't. And I can no longer call you sister. My love for you knows no bounds. My heartbreak for you knows no bounds. My hiding your secrets for you no longer exists. S, goodbye. You were my everything growing up. Thank you for keeping me alive. Part 2 will be coming out tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I have to end this here because my heart can't handle this right now.